Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Duffers Review 19th hole. Cheers up, as always. We're going to throw a little shout out to you guys here. I have drinks up from the 19th hole. Welcome back to This Week in Golf. As always, one of my favorites, joining me is Parker Bonds.
Hello, hello, hello. Hi, David. How are you on this fabulous Friday?
It's Friday. It was one of those weeks where it is Friday. It was doing all kinds of scheduling for different events and tournaments. So much so, surprisingly, in which we even get a chance to talk about. I've got 3 invites to tournaments for the Duffers to come out and do some actual commentary and stuff that came out from bunker to bunker. So we'll talk more. We'll talk more about that in next week's episode because we're just getting more information and stuff like that together. This week's episode, we're going to get right into it because we do this for 30 minutes. And we want to make sure that we're getting to the latest and greatest of information for you guys. Tricky Ricky Fowler. He is making a move. He out of his success and high finishing in last week's Wells Fargo Championship, he has decided to pull himself back from the depths of where did Ricky go, and he's moving up. He's moving up the ranks.
On Monday, he was invited to next week's PGA Championship. So that's great.
We have PGA Championship on the market today. The World Golf Ranking. The heaviness that's being put on this. So the real question, this is the question I have for you, and I wrote this up today, is do you think LIV and the PGA will ever land on a platform to rank players that both sides agree upon?
Well, I think that is imminent. I think that people are already talking about it. There's I saw an article about it today, which we kind of discussed, and it's coming, or at least it's threatening.
That is where this is why I asked this question, because it is. I read the article,
but it might not be coming, but it's threatening.
It's not. So here's it. So right now the battle is the original World Golf Ranking versus SI Sports Real Estate's World Golf Rankings.
Yeah.
The two comparisons between that I've noticed in doing some research on this was the World Golf Ranking, the original, is based on a 2-year accumulation of points and how you play and move up the scale. SI's version, they're working with Golf Intelligence Agency that is focused more on the actual play, real time, based on the average of the length of the course, how they're scoring, the strokes gained per player, and using real time analytics to give more of an accurate ratings against it. And they've been running and testing this new algorithm, or SI's version of the rankings against for the last 24 months, and showing how and where it's an invariance. And the whole battle kind of came into play because they were using Dustin Johnson as an example. In 21, he was number 3 in the world rankings, but going over to LIV and finishing top 25 in 3 major events, because they were still allowed to play in the majors, and dominating on the LIV tour, he dropped to 41 on the World Golf Rankings because the World Golf Rankings does not recognize LIV play.
Right.
So this new SI version would have actually had him at like 14th. So it was a very unique read in how they are accumulating or evaluating it. What I found ultimately interesting about this whole thing, the World Golf Ranking, the board members and everyone that sits on it is all PGA. Everything about it is the membership of the PGA Tour, the DP Tour, the USGA. There's an Augusta National Golf Club as a member sitting on this board for the rankings in golf. So it is stacked and racked.
Yeah.
PGA,
so, of course.
I mean, the SI though, which was a really unique read. One of Greg Norman's holding companies is actually underneath the umbrella of the new ownership of Sports Illustrated or something. So like now on the opposing side, there is a voice from LIV Golf pressing this. And this is where I kind of was really unique and was going back and forth because there was a lot of news like with Ricky Fowler, like with the upcoming PGA Championship, of those who are getting invites based on these rankings. And there's a lot of uproar of people that see that are not getting the invite or don't feel like they're making it because of this, because they haven't found a new land or variable on it. So what is your I know you're taking inevitably it's going to come to an edge, but is this the piece that the PGA can kind of make or break if they hold it long enough to let live die?
Well, that's the thing. It's like I think it's we've come to a crossroads, right, where the PGA has been trying ever so diligently to cut them out, to really make live a thing that does not affect PGA. Right. But slowly they have to they've let people play PGA tournaments now, even though initially they said absolutely not. So is this the thing that they're going to hold on to and go like, sorry, if you want to be ranked here on OWGR, you have to be playing PGA and potentially giving up live. But I think it's a little soon to tell as to how it's going to play out. But if we're going back to the whole jilted lover thing, I think as a jilted lover, PGA is going to be like, sorry, you don't get ranked here. And if you do get ranked, you get ranked way lower because you're not playing all the PGA tournaments because you're spending your time over at Live. So I feel like this is like moment by moment we're going to be finding out. What are your thoughts?
I think so too. And this is what is so unique because the way that they're doing the SI, I'm actually on board for the SI version because it's playing against real-time stats. If somebody goes out and dominates in one tournament and they're killing it like the stat, they get to make some moves and change versus something they've done 2 years ago that are holding them in a position. This went back to the day where even as a huge Tiger fan I am, mention him again this week, but
there's not a day that you don't say that name.
But I look at this and go, the perfect example of why it needed to change is when he went out with his first injury or whatever, he was gone for whatever. He was number one untouched. Like the gap in points was something like it was 6 months before anyone could even come close. And go, how dominant does one have to be on his stretch of his career? Like it was unseen. It was like the guy hasn't played in forever, and no one can take him out of number one.
Right.
This right here on the SI, that's no longer feasible. I don't want to say it penalizes, but it puts them in a structure of, hey, if you only get to play a select few, you really got to play and win to move in the rankings. Right.
Well, think about it. Think about when you were in school and there was the depending on how many tests you had and homework, the more tests and homework assignments you turned in, the better your grade would be because of the averages, right? But then the learning curves would happen. And if you were in a class where you had a midterm and a final, and that's what they base it all on, you can, pardon my French, shit down your leg and really fail that class. So it feels like it's the same kind of thing. The more you play, the better you can potentially do versus the fewer tournaments.
Yeah, so it's definitely one to watch, and we're going to talk about it some more because I don't see this is almost like I almost feel like it's the mediator between who's going to be more successful.
Yeah,
I ultimately feel that's the way it's going to go. All right, this week in golf, we are at the AT&T Brian Nelson Championship. Now, what is unique, I've been watching this scoreboard move up and down all day. Going into the day, Scheffler was tied for second, and he came out on fire. He went and shot 7 under today. Put him in as a finalist being 14 under on the day. Everyone was kind of like, hey, is he losing his sauce? Is it the Rahm show? Are they just going to, play ping pong back and forth? Today's, efforts just showed that he had what he could do with it. However, Hughes threw 7 under today as well.
Right, he did.
And that was a major move up. He's 13 under. Palmer went 6 under today, and he's 13 under. So this is actually, I think, going to be a very fun weekend of golf. Unlike last, where it was just kind of a runaway. Phoenix was a runaway. Yeah, I love that he went, wire to wire. But this is kind of, the message, even with Ricky being back in the mix. We were just talking before this. There's a lot of chatter saying that they're not crowd worthy. They're not fun to watch. They want that Ricky Fowler. They want that flash back into the game. They want those crowds that used to follow Tiger. They want some sort of challenge. I think that's what made the Masters so phenomenal, because you had that live twist and you had some names that were in there that were like, oh my God, is Koepka going to pull it off? I honestly think
here's the thing. It's like Scheffler is a great golfer, but 100%. Is he great? Is he a great draw? That's the thing. It's like what, in your words, what Tiger did for golf. Again, Tiger mentioned. I feel like we should have shots, and every time we mention
that could be a dangerous game.
We take a drink. So
that'd be a dangerous game.
Next week we're bringing drinks, so that if you
okay,
Tiger, we're taking a shot. Okay, but here's my point to that is like that brings crowds. Ricky Fowler brings crowds. People who are loud, people who are boisterous, people who have charm. Bring in and Scheffler, while a very good golfer, there's no pizzazz.
It's really funny because somebody put a comparison and said, "Hey, Jordan Spieth and Scottie Scheffler, putting them side by side. When they're both just calmly playing, there's no difference. When there's fire, a good move." Jordan comes unglued. He becomes that, oh my God, there's that there's that fire that comes through it, and people want to watch him because you're waiting for that explosion. Where I feel like with Scheffler, it's a tilt of the hat. Thank you for watching me.
There you go. And Jordan's like doing all that.
100%. So it's.
I mean, it's as a television producer, it makes great television, and people are going to tune in to watch it on the screens, or people are going to show up to watch it in person. That's just the nature of it all.
So here's I think is kind of a funny twist to this, because I'm looking at this leaderboard, and I've been doing a ton more as far as research in golf. Right, we're talking about golf. Did all these reviews and stuff. I don't know half of the names on this leaderboard. Like and I think that's that piece of like when you hear news, something as simple as, oh my God, Ricky Fowler broke 50. He's 50 on the world ranking, was trending all over the place. And I'm going, how sad is this breakup of players and skill set, that so much flash went to live.
Right.
I truly, and that's where I look at it, and I look at all the players sitting over there. They took some, like, hey, we need to have some, filler meat here as well. But they managed to cohort a lot of flash over to Live Golf, because that's exactly what Live Golf was looking for. That's what they wanted it to be.
Yes.
They wanted it to be a party every single time. And
not only flash, though, because, the Dustin Johnsons of the world will bring in flash, but the Phil Mickelsons brought in controversy. Like, people love to hate Phil Mickelson. Before he went to Live, people hated Phil Mickelson.
True.
It's like hate is just as good. Like adoring Tiger or hating Mickelson, it's emotion, and that's the thing that Scheffler doesn't bring out in people is the emotion.
100%. And I think what's really unique about some of that as well is there's a ton of people that hate Tiger, that are pro Phil. That just. And it's because they wouldn't let go of the discretions of off the course, and I get it. I respect that. I'm from to each their own. I mean, this is one of those as a Duffer. I can easily say, I'm like, I think there's a place for both, but I agreed, and this is the whole SI versus OWGR. Once that's settled, I think there's a place for golf to thrive all over the place, and I mean and which is even funnier because I watched it this morning in the gym. Dwayne The Rock Johnson was actually talking about XFL. And for once, they were talking on the first cut, and it was really unique. Is they were grilling him like, "Are you trying to be like you were in Ballers? Like you're trying to, you know?" And he really came back. He said, "No, I mean Ballers was a great character. It was a great opener to open certain things about the NFL." He goes, "But I look." And he kind of said it best. He goes, He goes, "I was number 54. I didn't make it, right?" I'm looking at Live Golf is kind of an opportunity to go on. They're paying right now for their way to be a version, right? It's this 5-year contract deal, you know, that everyone's getting is a paid. We're going to make it a expansion team, right? It's like we're paying to get seen or seen whatever. The 5-year marker though, I almost feel like I don't feel like they're going to be handing out money left and right because they're not getting the viewership. They're not getting the people showing up in you know mass affairs to the events as the PGA is pulling off.
So you're thinking that they're not even going to last 5 years? Is that what you're proposing?
No, I think they'll last the 5 years. I think they're contractually going to make it. They've spent their dough. It's Saudi money, whatever. I think they've got the dough to make it last 5 years.
Yeah, I think they have pretty deep pockets.
I just don't think that they're after 5 years. If there isn't an actual ROI, I mean, there's a certain point where you're going to, you know, call no joy when you're making no money on your investments, right? But I also see this could be a leaping stone. This could be one of those that it gets shifted and kind of like the, you know, mind blank. The launching tours on the Corn Ferry tours, like that can get you into the PGA.
Yeah.
I think that you're going to have an opportunity to where these all become feeders of some way or challenge. And I think you're going to start to see maybe new type of tournaments, you know, where you have, because they were talking about getting rid of match play and, you know, all of a sudden, like you're going to need something else. The constant 18 holes to see who's the top. Half the time I'm on the course, like people are always playing some different variation of golf just to make it more entertaining. And I think that's really where Live and the PGA, if they decide to stop battling each other, and I honestly think this world ranking thing could be that, like the deciding point.
Right.
It really could be that deciding factor of going, if they start ranking and following and adapting to this, you know, you get ranked on what you're playing, because the reality is they only play 14, right? So they would still have to go pay like 6 other rounds or something somewhere else to get the same play that a PGA player would play. So there's still a disadvantage, I guess you would say, to the Live Tour with SI, you know, because you don't have as many rounds under their belt. But I think it's going to level the field to allow both tours to continue.
But here's the thing: it's like they're having sold out crowds though. Live. I was just looking up some research. They're having like 60,000 people attend their tournaments. That's not bad.
I don't think it's in comparison to what the PGA is getting. I think that's where I was reading.
No. 100%.
Right.
In comparison, you can't compare. But as far, it's not like they have a couple of thousand people showing up. There are people showing up.
But you also got to look at it. Live is paying more per turn. So a perfect example: the winning purse for Tulsa's event is something like 25 mil. The purse for the AT&T is 9.5.
9.5.
So I mean, at what point, which tournament you really want to go play in? You know, it's kind of like, wow, there's way more money to win there, even in last place. You know, so but I think it comes back to that. You could, that wells only can run for so long.
Right.
You know, you could only spend so much. 60,000 people showing up, where a PGA event is bringing 160,000. They're making a heck of a lot more against a lower purse, and they're still blocking you.
Right.
You know, the money eventually will push through. They only have 5 years though for it to push through. And we're already, I think, we're a quarter into the second season.
Yeah.
of golf. So
Golf.
we,
Yeah.
we will see. I mean, it's and there's still a lot of controversy there that's been unseen. So, who's your prediction? Are you? I think Scheffler's going to hold on.
Yeah.
I think he can hold on. That's my prediction. Because I think he'll hold it for this tournament.
Yeah, I do think he'll hold it for it. And I don't, as I'm looking at I think he'll hold it.
I do think, again, everyone says Saturday's moving day, to put yourself in prime position. Looking at the top 10, all shooting massive, 5 unders, 4 unders. I mean, heck, Edencott shot 7 under as well to move way back up from his round from yesterday. Yeah. So I think there's some people that can really fire off and make this a really, really good championship. But that's going to lead us into next week's PGA Championship.
Mm-hmm.
So this is twofold excited because next week you'll also see here the signing for the U.S. Open Championship battle between Pick'em Pros and Duffers Review.
Oh, that's right.
We are going to be signing next week what the events are going to be. We have a couple polls that are going out in social media this week of what that format should be. Right now, it's going to be against 2 rounds, so 18 holes, and we want to do different formats per 9 holes. So definitely check out the polls and socials. And then Barbara's going to mediate the signing between PGA Championship and U.S. Open Championship wagers for Pick'em Pros and Duffers Review. Yeah. But here's what's cool about the PGA Championship, and the only thing that I've really seen, because everyone's into where Scheffler's going this week, is there's a championship dinner, which I didn't know this. I didn't know there was actually a championship dinner at the PGA Championship. I really thought that was just a Masters thing. I didn't realize there were other, I guess, maybe championship dinners or something of that nature. They've never, or I never paid that much attention. It could be the real reality of it. But Justin Thomas was last year's champion, and he's hosting his entire dinner from Rouse.
Rouse? What's Rouse? Rouse? You mean Rayos? Okay, here's the deal. This happens all the time. I'm a New Yorker, and Rayos is famous in New York. It's a restaurant, and so they created this whole brand, and everybody calls it Rouse. It's Rayos, but that's okay.
But
People continue to call it Rouse, but it's Rayos.
Aren't they both? Is it tomato? They're both spelled the same way.
It's all the same, but as a New Yorker, it hurts somewhere deep inside when someone says Rouse.
Are you deep dish or are you thin crust?
Thin. I'm a New Yorker. You're Chicago.
But I am a thin crust. I love.
Okay, because I was like, yeah.
But there's a difference, though. Chicago's thin crust is actual pizza, where New York's is cardboard. So.
Excuse me?
It is what it is.
Clearly, you've never been to a good pizzeria in New York. New York has the best pizza known to man. Okay?
Oh, the battle of this is one of those that'll be battled to the day.
We will battle it.
So since you know the restaurant well.
Yes.
What do you think of this choice? Do you think it is a good choice for PGA Championship dinner?
Delicious. They have the most amazing food. Like, I used to go there after work. I was working on a TV show, and there was a Rayos right near where we worked, and I went there all the time. There's one here in LA too. It's great.
I hear it and I think Italian. Is it Italian?
It is.
Okay, that's what I was saying. I don't think I've ever eaten there. No, honestly, I don't think.
Yeah, they have the best meatballs on the planet.
So to do a full catering at an event like this is like the ultimate carb load.
That's huge. No, they have good stuff. It's not just all pasta. It's not all pasta. It's like steak and. But here's what's interesting about the PGA Championship. Jason Duffner, who won the PGA Championship the last time the Wanamaker Trophy was contested at Oak Hill, is not going to play. He's not going to defend his title. Did you know that?
am I not looking at this right? So I thought JT won it last year.
No. The last time it was played at Oak Hill.
Oh, at Oak Hill. Got
Yeah.
it. Okay. I was gonna say, I'm like,
Sorry.
All right. No,
he didn't win last year, but at Oak Hill, you know how you always want to go back.
Right. You want to go back where you last wanted to
that
spend
you
it.
won it. So
is he hurt?
He's not going. He's he has played 19 events and he didn't make the cut this weekend. And he is opting out of the tournament because he has missed the last 5 cuts. And I guess he just doesn't want to show up and potentially miss the cut where he won.
And embarrass himself.
And embarrass himself, yeah.
But those,
I found that interesting.
I actually, it's really funny to hear that because I would almost, to me, it's almost like making the wager on, and I'm going to do it again, Tiger winning at the Masters. If there's any particular course, right, like where you last won a big championship, you would think that's just, you have to juice everything like, I've done it. I've played this, like this is where I want it. So there has to be something else going on. And maybe it's those last 5 missed cuts that are like, whoa, I don't have the skill set anymore. Maybe I don't have it, to just say, hey, no, I don't have it.
Yeah.
Oh. That's a tough one because at least for me as a competitor, I'd be right there. Saddle up. I'm going to defend and I'm going to come in talking shit. I don't care. I won it. This is the last time I won it here.
Right, but when asked, he has given no reason why he's pulled out.
So here's the other interesting one on the PGA Championship, and I'm going to have to re-Google it real fast. Garcia is not playing.
Oh.
PGA
Garcia isn't. And
but he and it's something like it's going to
Vijay Singh, who is a PGA champ, and Davis Love the third also not playing. They've pulled out, and Kamer's pulled out.
But the Sergio one, here we go. It was Golf Digest.
Yes.
It is. He goes. Sergio Garcia's absence ends one of the most impressive streaks in golf. He will not continue this because he had failed to qualify through more than a dozen criteria and receive a special invite from round field. It was not really. Sorry, I'm just trying to get to the point of why or what. This is saying he is ineligible.
Wow. Is that when he went over to live?
I don't want to sit here and read an entire article, but the offset here is really saying it's because he's not eligible, and something with missing the Masters and COVID. But I guess it breaks a streak of how long he's been playing or something at the PGA Championship, blah, 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 blah. This is the first time for just ineligibility, which is really, really unique in the sense of, when you start talking about live golf and what other things can now be a variable to that. Yeah. So that's unique. That's unique. So there's a lot of people that I guess are not showing up to the PGA Championship. Which I'm really interested to see, is this going to have the same touchdown as the Masters did? With those who are going to show up, who have that invite, past champions and stuff to allure, and those are just like, I don't care, to do so.
It'll be interesting. Is Koepka playing? Koepka's coming. Last I read, Koepka's coming. That'll be interesting. We'll keep you posted.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted on that one. That was good news. So right here in our last minute, as we get ready to wrap this thing up here, we're in our final episode. We are in our final episode of Full Swing, episode 8. Everything has led to this. Mm-hmm. Now, guys, you have to go see the conversation on this one. I already watched this again just this morning, and the battle of the cliffhangers that are put out there, but Rory's comments the setting of the stage, the battles of the internet, and trolling between Live and PGA Golf come to culmination here in episode 8.
Yes.
What are your thoughts running?
Oh my God. I love episode 8 because it really is about Rory. I love Rory. Rory starts, he talks about Phil, and Rory is so great, and he's taken on the badge of like, I am the protector of the PGA, which I think is pretty funny. And so, but his golf game isn't as great as his talk, so it'll be interesting to
And that's what's so unique is that's such a solid point, because we were watching this and we debated this in this episode. We were like, why Rory? And at the same time, he's also been playing on tour for over 13, 14 years now too. So it's like,
right.
Where did the time go that he has got that length and seniority on his shoulders as well? That was like, I remember when this kid was just chubby cheeks and hair. It was so it's very, very unique. I think it's just one of the best episodes, especially it's the concluding episode, and they were picked up for season 2, which I think you even said last week they're filming. There's a lot of great stuff filming and happening right now on both sides of the tours. So, guys, again, thank you for joining me. Barbara, as always, thank you for joining me here.
Absolutely.
This week's in golf. Duffers Review on all the socials. Go out, like, subscribe, and also be sure to tell me where you want me to come golf with you next. I will fly out. I will review with you, and we'll give you the insight, not only from what's going on in golf, but what we're actually here to do. We review golf courses, right? So let's get out there and review some together. Like, subscribe. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, and hit them straight.
Take care, everyone.